Let's start this one off. When we talk about start with why, there's almost no getting past this guy called Simon Sinek. He wrote a book with the title Start with Why. That doesn't mean he's the only one or he's the first one. He's not the first one. He's the first one who managed to write about it and reach a very big audience.
Because of the platform.
Yes, very well. But he's definitely not the first one of this idea. There's, if you see the TED Talk, then a lot of things will, in this short explanation, will be similar because that's good, pun intended. Basically, what we often see is that companies, they have a very good idea about what they do. So, for example, I work as a consultant. If you ask me, what do you do? I would say, well, I help develop teams to be able to create their own vision, for example, very clearly in the what. If you get this information, chances you will forget are very high because you talk about the what almost any time. When we try to think of how are we delivering it and even why are we doing it, for a lot of companies, it becomes a lot harder. And if we communicate from the outside in, we often notice that it doesn't necessarily work. So I just told you I do this as a living. How I do this? Well, I organize engaging sessions. Why? Well, I don't even know why I'm doing it. For example, I don't know why I'm doing it, but still. But if I express it or if I build my communication like this, you will never, or chances are very slight that you will buy from 2%. It's the rule on average. Percent will buy from you. If you just push out your pockets, your lots. The idea behind the golden circle, however, is if we turn that around, if we start with why, if we start with the purpose, if we start with I believe or we believe or our goal or vision is, and then you work your way around to the action. How do you bring this in practice? What are you doing to express or bring into reality this why, this vision that you have? And based on how you are doing it, what are you offering? And that thing that you are offering, does this prove your why, your purpose? So I'm going to be very annoying at this point, but if you all look to the Windows side, there you can see my dream. And this is my dream about how I see classes. Now, why did I start phrasing this dream? Well, I believe we can end suffering during training. And with suffering, I mean necessarily one guy, one teacher standing in front, a lot of people sitting in the back, just sitting there, wasting their time. How do I want to change this? I want to deliver sessions that are sessions to remember, so that there's always at least one thing that you will remember for the rest of your life. What do I offer? I offer in this class engaging sessions based on startup strategy. That's my why statement, my start with why statement for this lesson or for this coursework as general. Now, if we think of examples, famous examples also mentioned in the TED Talks, for example, Apple, they challenge the status quo. How do they do it? Well, beautifully designed computers and whatsoever. And what? Well, we sell iPads whatsoever. What Simon and what I'm telling here, it's not based on gut feeling or not picked out of the air. Actually, we only it's further. The whole bottom line is actually here in biology. If you look at our brain, On average, there are more parts than what I'm explaining here, but if we really take a central look, we have the neocortex, which is the newest developed part of our brain, and that's where we talk. That's where language is developed, and that's where often the what is understood. So the analysis. I understand what you are saying, but it doesn't feel right. So you give me all the facts. I see what you mean. I get it, but it doesn't feel right. And that doesn't feel right. It's actually because our older brain, our limbic brain, is responsible for trust, behavior, and decision making. That's why we say it doesn't feel right. That's where the sentence comes from. But actually, the sentence, and this is pun intended again, the sentence comes from the neocortex because that's where language is. Make it very complicated. Now, the reason why this start with why is so important, well, if we can get people to believe what we believe, so if my lesson will be successful if you come to this lesson because you're doing it for yourself, because you believe that this way of training works, because you believe for yourself that this is better than just sitting back and listening. That's when I'll be successful. And on average, because we focus on the limbic brain, it helps people to move because here are decisions made. Now, if we, how do we link this back to entrepreneurship and our own business? Well, imagine you are sitting in this boat, and you are fishing. Well, you basically have two options. You can look for people who need what you have, and then you are actually focusing on the what. And what you'll get is you'll have, well, they will come in, they will buy it from you, or take, for example, if you have a job, take the job, but if they can get it somewhere better, they will leave. In other words, you will have mercenaries. So from the first better bits, first slightly greener grass on the other side, they will be gone. On the other side, if you can convince people to believe what you believe, they will be your missionaries, and they will tell at least a couple of people about your product, about what you are doing. Credit where it's due. Is mercenaries versus missionaries is almost a whole chapter in the book inspired by Monty Kagan. Monty Kagan is a Silicon Valley, I don't know if you can call him a venture capitalist, but he's had a foot between the door in a lot of companies who started very small and are quite big right now. He has his own consulting company. Yes, go ahead.
So basically, you have customers, you have to enter their limbic system and make them trust you and like believe. Isn't that a kind of manipulation? So they can like trust you because they decide if they believe in it.
It's
not because of no problems.
two things. If I can, I'll try and
Yeah.
basically. First thing I want to say, there is no world without manipulation. The way that you are dressed already expresses a certain outlook. No way around it. The idea behind Start With Why is, well, I have a message, and it would be nice if you would believe it too. And if you want to believe it, and that's why I mentioned here, the focus is on if you start believing it for yourself. So you're not doing it for the guy who's selling, but you're doing it for yourself. To turn back to all these, I have two examples on this. They're a little bit older again. One from Simon Sinek, he says in his TED Talk again, people who stood in line 6 hours to buy an apple, they did it for themselves because they wanted to be first. They wanted to be the first to have that technology. They were okay that it still had some limits. Same thing if you, 2 weekends ago, I was in London and I visited I'm a Potterhead. So I visited the Harry Potter exhibition and there were photos of when the last Harry Potter movie came out. All those people, they were, I mean, most people were there because they believed that this was the moment they wanted to join. It was not because there are going to be some, maybe some or some stars, but a lot of people did it for themselves. They wanted to be there with that special book because it was going to be the last movie, the last chance to be at, I think it was Trafalgar Square, to fill the square, to have that thing. Last time. So they were there for themselves, not for anybody else. I'll explain it a little bit more.